Hello and welcome. American Podcasting presents the Racing Podcast. RP starts next. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Racing Podcast, show number 731. Racing Podcast presented by American Podcasting, available at apodradio.com, also available at Spreaker.com, #sports. I'm your host, Manny A. And, of course, in the action last weekend, last Saturday was the last weekend's Xfinity event. The Lilly Diabetes 250 winner Kyle Busch in the 54 Toyota, who led 53 laps and gained 2 points. Second place, Ryan Blaney in the 22 Ford. He led 24 laps. And then Daniel Suarez comes in third in the 18 Toyota, and he led 3 laps. Sunday was last weekend's Sprint Cup event. The Crown Royal presents the Jeff Kyle 400 at the Brickyard. Winner Kyle Busch in the 18 Toyota, who led 19 laps and gained 1 point. Second place, Joey Logano in the 22 Ford, led 28 laps. And third place, Kevin Harvick in the number 4 Chevy, and he led 75 laps. And then last week's truck event, which was on Wednesday, July the 22nd, and that was the 1-800 Car Cash Mud Summer Classic. Winner Christopher Bell in the 54 Toyota, who led 106 laps, gained 4 points. Second place, Bobby Pierce in the 63 Chevy, led 39 laps. And in third place, Tyler Reddick in the 19 Ford. Now, the next race for trucks is Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, August 1st. So this upcoming weekend, you have trucks and Sprint Cup that head to Pocono Raceway, and Xfinity Racing is heading to Mid-Ohio. Alright, so we'll talk about that in a bit. So first, we'll go over the details from last week's race, which was actually pretty exciting. I have a feeling Joe Logano is going to win a race soon because, Kyle Busch and Joey Logano fighting for first place again last week, and it looked like Joey Logano was going to get it. I thought he was going to get it because they had that green-white checkered, and I said, this might be his shot to get in there, but Kyle Busch wound up winning anyway. So that's 2 weeks in a row Kyle Busch won, and Kyle Busch also swept the weekend at Indianapolis last weekend. So, it was the Crown Royal presents the Jeff Kyle 400 at the Brickyard. Scheduled number of laps was 160, but I believe they went to 164. Race start time was 3:42 p.m. Eastern. Race finished up at 6:48 p.m. Eastern, so you had 3 hours and 6 minutes of racing. Pole sitter was Carl Edwards in the 19 Toyota. Jeff Kyle actually served in the military and has served in Iraq and Africa. Jeff Kyle is recognized for helping disabled veterans. And Friday, July 24th was declared Jeff Kyle Day. Source, Indy Star. So the presentation of colors presented by the Indiana National Guard, Joint Services Color Guard, invocation by Reverend Howard Brahma, and then the national anthem performed by Kelly Pickler, country music recording artist, and they had the large American flag hanging at turn 1, and then a flyover from A-10C Warhogs. I believe there was 2 of them from the 122nd Fighter Wing, Indiana Air National Guard, from turn 4 to turn 1, and the Gentlemen Start Your Engines Command, Marie Holman George, and no drivers started in the back at this race, believe it or not. Although I believe it was Ryan Newman had to start. That's because in the back, but that was from an incident during qualification where his right side window popped out. So they had to start him in the back, but no last minute, which means on the actual race day, nobody had to start in the back. So if you qualify with your car, and at the last minute you got to change the engine or transmission on race day, then they put you in the back. So that was that. So, top three at lap 2, you had Joey Logano, Carl Edwards, Tony Stewart. And then, top 5 at lap 5 was Logano, Edwards, Stewart, Harvick, Kyle Busch. And then Sam Hornish Jr., he reports tire issues. Lap 8, possible tire rub. Sam Hornish Jr. in the number 9 car. And at lap 8, he was running 26th. Top 3 at lap 14 was Carl Edwards, Joey Logano, and Tony Stewart. Carl Edwards with a 1.41 second lead over Joey Logano, which grew to 2.08 seconds by lap 18. The 1.41 was at lap 15. And then at lap 16, you had a top 3 of Edwards, Logano, and Kevin Harvick. Jamie McMurray reported his car was going a little slow on the straights during lap 12. AJ Allmendinger goes in for some tires, comes back out lap 17. Tony Stewart had a little... Tony Stewart had something with his car, but I forget what it was. But anyway, top 3 at lap 20 was Edwards, Harvick, Logano, 19-4-22. Carl Edwards with a 0.93 second lead over Kevin Harvick at lap 21, which actually dropped down to 0.26 at lap 23. And then at lap 23, you had Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch. Now, Carl Edwards' lead over Harvick grew to a 1.067 second lead at lap 26. Then you had some green flag pit stops around, I think it was around lap 27. And then top 3 at lap 27, Edwards, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano. And then it was Edwards, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski at lap 29. Austin Dillon popped for going too fast, entering pit road, lap 32. Then top 3 at lap 31 was Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, Joey Logano. Kevin Harvick with a 1.15 second lead over Carl Edwards at lap 32. Then Edwards got switched over to the first place at lap 32, which it was Edwards, Harvick, and Logano. Then at lap 34, it was Harvick, Edwards, Logano. So a lot of switching around there. And then lap 36, you had Harvick, Edwards, Logano again. But Harvick with a 0.43 second lead over Carl Edwards at lap 36. Dale Jr. reports some loose wheel. He thought he had a loose wheel lap 36. Trevor Bayne having some issues, tells the crew chief, quote, "Something's bad, wrong," end quote. And then comes question number 1. For debris on the backstretch, and it was balloons. Okay, so they had a bunch of balloons up into the air. That they do that. They let the balloons up in the air, and a couple went up on the track, and that brought out the first caution. That was lap 44. Lennon Castle, the beneficiary there. Lennon Castle in the 40 car. Race off pit road at lap 46 consisted of the 19 to 18 to 78 to 42, the 20 to 15 to 4 to 14 to 2 to 24. Carl Edwards, the 19 car, the winner there. Restart lap 50. The top 3 after the restart at lap 50 was Joey Logano, David Ragan, and Denny Hamlin. Okay. Now, they didn't complete lap 50 until when question number 2 came out. Okay, so restart lap 50, but then at lap 50, question number 2, Clint Boyer, the 15 car, and Jeff Gordon in 24 car. And this kind of messed up Jeff Gordon's day a little bit, because this was Jeff Gordon's last race at Indiana, and this one kind of messed his day up. Gordon goes into the wall, and what happens, Gordon receives some contact from Clint Boyer. Gordon goes into the wall pretty significantly. Casey Kane also had some contact as well. Ryan Newman was the beneficiary there in the 31 car. Gordon then goes to pit road to get some work done. He would actually come back to the start, though, at the restart, so he wasn't out for too long. But he did get yelled at, but he got told by NASCAR officials because he was going too slow during the midst of the race. So he did have some issues after that. The front end of the car went into the wall, so that kind of messes the car up right there. But the restart from that was at lap 55. Top 3 at lap 56 was Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson Truex Jr. Logano with a 0.58 second lead at lap 56, which grew to a 1.18 second lead at lap 58. Then at lap 59, the top three consisted of Joey Logano, Truex Jr., and Kyle Busch. Joey Logano with a 2.85 second lead over Truex Jr. at lap 59. You know, I was pulling for Joey Logano on Sunday. That's my guy, okay? I'm a Chevy guy, I know, and he drives a Ford. Nothing against Ford, I'm just saying. But I do like Joey Logano. They call him Teeth, okay? Which I always thought Brad Keselowski was called Teeth, but it's Joey Logano for some reason, right? And then, so top three at lap 61 was Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, David Ragan. Now, actually, lap 60, the top three was Logano, Kyle Busch, Truex Jr. And then at 61, it was Logano, Harvick, David Ragan. But Logano with a 4.99, actually ran that up to an even 5 second lead at lap 61. It was actually 4.998. Okay. Then at lap 63 was Kevin Harvick, Stewart, and Kyle Larson. Harvick with a 2.36 second lead over Tony Stewart at lap 64. Then at lap 65 was Kevin Harvick, Stewart, and Brad Keselowski. Kevin Harvick's lead grew from a 2.77 second lead in lap 66 to a 5.21 second lead at lap 72. Now, lap 68, this is when NASCAR wants Jeff Gordon. It says Gordon has to pick up speed, and he actually winds up heading to the garage eventually at lap 73. So there is a minimum speed on the track. Obviously, if you're going too slow, that poses a hazard for the rest of the drivers. And we mentioned this last time that NASCAR, the race cars don't have a speedometer. It's all on the tach. So a lot of mathematics going on with racing, which makes it kind of incredible. And in fact, the sensors, how the sensors work on pit road, okay, how to determine how fast you get from one section to the next, and we explained this. You have the first sensor at the beginning of pit road and the last one at the exit of pit road, and then you got sensors in between at various intervals, right? It's timed, so if they feel whatever the computer does, if you get from, they figure it takes a certain amount of time to get from one section to the next. So if you get from that one section to the next in the less than the time that is set, okay. So for instance, if they figure, okay, you'll get from section 1 to section 2 in about 5 seconds or whatever, but you get from section 1 section 2 in 3 seconds, boom, you're going too fast. So that's how that all works out. Very scientific, ladies and gentlemen. As all sports, science is definitely involved. Tony Stewart tells crew chief at lap 74, quote, still a little tight in the center, just a tick loose off, end quote. Yeah, so Tony Stewart had some issues with his car because, I know I skipped it, but I'll backtrack for a second. Where did he say it right here? Tony Stewart saying, quote, this was back at lap 18 where he says, quote, this car is evil in traffic. Okay, so apparently he had some issues there. And again, they're building these cars, okay? So you might think, well, how come one car is slower than the other? They're building them every week. That's what they do. Once that race is over, that's it. Well, the drivers aren't building them. The race car owners, the teams are building them, which is a luxury, because if you actually go out racing, most likely you're going to be building the car yourself and driving it. But when you get into the major leagues, you got guys to build the car for you, which is nice. How nice is it to get a new car every week? That'd be nice, right? So Stewart Keselowski battled for second during lap 77, but Tony Stewart winds up maintaining second place for a little while. And then Jeff Gordon talks to NBC about the incident hitting the wall, and he says, quote, I don't know what happened, end quote. Lap 80 marks the race halfway mark. Alex Bowman heads to the garage lap 81, and then he had another round of green flag pit stops at lap 83, and the top threes just went all crazy. Top three at lap 83 was Harvick, Keselowski, and Kyle Edwards. Then at lap 84 was Keselowski, Edwards, Kyle Busch. Lap 85, Keselowski, Edwards, Kevin Harvick. Then at the beginning of lap 85, in the middle of lap 85 actually,